This is my video on the best anime of 2016, featuring some honorable mentions as well as my top 5 favorites of the year. I shall begin with my honorable mentions. These anime were really good but couldn't make it to the top 5 or were disqualified for various reasons. The first honorable mention is Haikyuu's third season. The reason it can't make the top 5 list is because it is a returning season. And for Haikyuu in particular, if you haven't seen the previous seasons, this won't make you like it. It provides some powerful character moments which without context will not work no matter who is watching it. However, the soundtrack is easily the best of any anime that has come out this year. The songs fit the scenes they appear in perfectly, lending an incredible impact to all the character development and emotional moments within the season. The animation is incredible, just as you would come to expect from a Haikyuu series. In addition to that, it is also the best that the series has ever had in its entire run. There aren't that many problems with Haikyuu Season 3, honestly. It's probably the best single season of any show I have seen this year. But alas, it is also a returning season, which means it can't possibly be the best new anime of 2016. My second honorable mention would be Mobile Suit Gundam Thunderbolt, whether it be December Sky or the 4-episode OVA series. It doesn't make the top 5 because obviously it is an OVA series and the movie. While also, even if it was a full-on series, I don't think it would top any of the top 5 that are present within. The animation and soundtrack are both quite excellent, however, every other part aside from when Io Fleming and Daryl Lawrence are in direct conflict is quite bad. You really have to have the booming jazz of Io's music or the cheesy pop tunes of Daryl's in order to really appreciate the series. And if it's not present, then the series kind of just becomes underwhelming. Number 5, Demo Suzuku. This answer might surprise a lot of people, considering Space Patrol Luluco wasn't very well marketed or shown around. However, it is in no way a bad series. It is extremely funny and is a celebration of everything that has to do with Trigger, the studio that made it. And I personally quite enjoy every single Trigger show, I'm not going to lie. So this one is kind of like a shoe-in for the number 5 spot. The animation is nothing to write home about, but the jokes, the characters that show up, such as Inferno Cop, are all extremely entertaining and the show is never dull. The series has a very strong soundtrack as well, featuring a great ending and opening. However, it is quite a hard show to recommend because you need to see almost every other single Trigger show to really get it, and some of the older shows made by Gainax Studios. And on to number 4. Superpowers are quite popular right now, aren't they? But their popularity alone doesn't diminish the quality put into Boku no Hero Academia by Bones Studios, featuring some of the best animated fight scenes of the year, while also having great animation in every other area as well. This is a staple of Bones Studios, however, and it should have been expected from the very first moment that the show was announced. It features a strong cast of characters, particularly All Might, Bakugo, and Deku, alongside an amazing soundtrack which only feeds into the greatness that the show is. The only problem I actually have with the show is that it has some incredibly annoying pacing issues strewn throughout that stop it from being as great as it could have been. And here comes number 3, drum roll please. This is my favorite show that everyone likes for the wrong reason. People tend to focus on the fact that there is a gay relationship within the actual series rather than how good the series actually can be, boasting an incredible soundtrack full of variety and different types of music, ranging from rock to pop to classical. Like, there is nothing you won't find on this soundtrack. However, the animation tends to be quite average when it's outside of the actual ice skating scene. However, the ones that are present, such as Yurio's and Yuri, particularly featuring the songs Yuri on Ice and Agape, are extremely strong and powerful and are incredibly well animated, as they should have been considering they are the 2 main characters of the show. If it seems that I am quite critical of this show, I am not trying to be. This is one of my favorite series and it is my number 3. For a pretty good reason, and that reason is that the romance between Yuri and Viktor Nikiforov is actually one of the best I have ever seen in anime itself, where there's no misunderstandings, there's no stupid tsundere moments, there's no yandere crazy shit happening, it's just pure romance, and that is what is good about it. In the end, an amazing soundtrack and the beautiful ice skating scenes rescue a series which has average animation and dubious character moments, accompanied by a beautiful romance between Yuri and Victor. And let's not forget one of the best openings of the entire year in History Maker by Dean Fujioka, featuring beautiful visuals as well as the song itself being incredible. Mori 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 number 2 radio. It makes me incredibly upset that this cannot be the number 1 series. This is my second favorite manga of all time turned into anime form. I have waited an incredibly long time for this to happen, and yet it is not number 1. I really don't know where to begin with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Diamond is Unbreakable, considering all the characters are amazing, the animation was top notch, and the soundtrack was some of the best. This anime boasts the single best fight scene of any anime in 2016, that being the final one between Yoshikage Kira and the rest of the JoJo gang. Speaking of Yoshikage Kira, he also wins my Best Villain of 2016 award quite easily, and there is literally no competition quite as good as him. He just wants a quiet life, man, and no one lets him have one. Though if they did let him have one, we wouldn't have the best part of JoJo to date. The series boasts 3 incredible openings, each one being better than the next. Beginning with Crazy Noisy Bizarre Town, followed by the complete change of tone in Chase by Batter, and finishing up with my opening of the year, Breakdown, also known as Great Days. The ending is nothing to complain about either, considering it's I Want You by Savage Garden, which is an okay song to begin with, but the actual visuals are breathtaking, and this is what it shares with the openings prior to it. The only weakness that shows itself in the show, and this is also what it has in common with the manga itself, obviously being adapted from it, is that there are several pacing issues during the mid-section. After Red Hot Chili Pepper is defeated, there is quite a slow down to the pace of the actual manga and the show itself. Not to say that the actual stand battles in between that and meeting Yoshikage Kira for the first time are bad, but they are not up to the standard of the other ones after and before. All in all, however, JoJo Diamond is Unbreakable is the second best show that has come out this year. There is only one show that is above it, and with a heavy heart I am to say that this show absolutely demolished every other one this year. Number 10, number 9, number 8, number 7, number 6, number 5, number 4, number 3, number 2, number 1 is here. Where to begin with this show? Mob Psycho 100 is quite possibly the best show I have seen in quite some time. Mob Psycho 100 is an action comedy. It's an action and a comedy, and yet my tears were flowing so hard I could have made a river by myself. I found the show extremely relatable. Despite not possessing powerful psychic powers, I could relate to the way Mob perceives the world, and that's something that I've not felt for a long time. And speaking of feelings, aside from being the way Mob unlocks his powers by going 100%, the way they are shown locked deep within him is something all humans can relate to, and it's something that I found extremely touching and I relate to every day on a personal level. It also features my favourite character in Mob's master, Reigen Arataka, being one of the most hilarious characters I have seen in anime in a very, very long time, which then makes the 1000% gratitude scene so powerful and my favourite scene of all anime this year. The animation, the soundtrack, the visuals, the story, the comedy. What else is there? What else does it talk about? This show has everything. It's just amazing, and that's all I can say about it. As I have done with most shows on this list, I will talk about the opening and ending as well. And what an opening and ending they are. To begin with, 99 by the Mob Choir is the opening theme for the series. It features beautiful visuals, almost the best. Oh, quite close, it's quite close. However, the actual song drags it down a tiny touch, I feel. The reason for this, while it is perfect for encapsulating the show as it follows Mob's actual power-up system with going from 1 to 100, the instrumentals themselves and the singer's voice get quite jarring after a while. It is quite a shame that this opening is very skippable. However, the ending is almost perfect. The way it shows Reigen's day before he meets Mob, and then all the colour comes back into his life, is something that I love. And the song itself is possibly the best song used in an ending in this year as well. Refrain Boy by Olaf, it fits the show perfectly, and unlike the actual opening, is unskippable. You have to listen to it every time. Every time! Every time! Without fail. Please, listen to it. Listen to it now. All in all, the reasons for Mob Psycho being my number one show are quite clear. There is no show that has come close to making me feel the same way as Mob Psycho did this year. And there have been a lot of great shows, particularly JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Diamond is Unbreakable, which could have took this spot if Mob Psycho didn't exist. But because it does, it takes the number one spot, and takes the number one spot in my heart as well. Reigen Shisho! This has been The Basic Viewer, signing off.